Hello students, today we are going to continue with the chapter The Crisis of Democratic Order, which has now been named Democratic Resurgence from your book 2 of Political Science class 12th, that is Politics in India Since Independence. So let us know what happened next after the railway strike. We had done till the railway strike in the previous video. Well, the next question that arose was related to how much is the judiciary committed. The basic meaning of this was the commitment of judiciary to which political system, whether to constitution and law or to the prime minister and the bureaucracy. In this respect, three main controversial issues may be cited, which are: can the parliament abridge constitutional rights? In this connection, in the Golaknath case of 1967, the Supreme Court decided that there are some basic features of the constitution and the parliament cannot amend these features, so that the parliament cannot abridge or curtail the fundamental rights. So fundamental rights are something which are basic features of the constitution. The second question was, can the parliament curtail right to property by making an amendment? In this respect also, the Supreme Court ruled that the parliament cannot contain these rights. Third question arose on the amendment of the constitution, stating that basic or fundamental rights may be curtailed by applying the directive principles of state policy. The Supreme Court also turned down these propositions. So all these propositions which were raised by the constitution were by the government were rejected by the Supreme Court. And it gave a verdict that Parliament can abridge fundamental rights for giving effect to directive principles. It also includes the right to property, but Parliament cannot change the basic structure of the Constitution. The Kesavanand Bharati case, which you have studied in class 11th, is one such case which is responsible for this conflict with judiciary of the Parliament. Now, the major developments that took place during this time were that Government of India superseded 3 judges as Chief Justice. Okay, otherwise the Chief Justice is made according to seniority. The senior most judge is made as the Chief Justice. But here the government, after this case of Kesavanand Bharati and this amendment of the constitution, etc., the government superseded the 3 senior judges as Chief Justice. In 1973, it set aside the seniority of the 3 judges and appointed A.N. Roy as the Chief Justice of India. The appointment became politically controversial because all the 3 judges were superseded, okay, and had given rulings against the stand of the government. Thus, Prime Minister started talking of the need for a judiciary and the bureaucracy committed to the vision of executive and the legislature. So this was a big development that had taken place, and it was not very well accepted by the people. How did this happen? On June 12, 1975, Justice Jagmohan Lal Sinha of the Allahabad case court passed the judgment declaring the elections of Indira Gandhi as null and void, as invalid. This order came on an election petition filed by Mr. Raj Narayan, who was an opponent of Indira Gandhi in the 1971 elections. He was a socialist leader. In his petition, Raj Narayan challenged her election on the ground that she had used the official machinery in her election campaign. Okay, you're not allowed to use government servants in your election campaign, but he had blamed Indira Gandhi of using government servants. Sorry for this. Right? Okay. So in June 24th, Supreme Court declared he filed a petition on June 24th, and which stated that Indira Gandhi should resign from her post and that she would no more be an MP. So on 24th June, 12 June 1975, Allahabad High Court judgment, Indira Gandhi could no more be the PM and thus MP and thus not a PM. And on 24th June, Supreme Court declared that Indira could remain MP, but not participate in legislative proceedings. So the High Court said that she will not be a PM, and the Supreme Court said that she cannot participate in legislative proceedings. All the opposition leaders had pressed for her resignation and organized massive demonstration in resignation of her, in call for her resignation. They were nationwide satyagraha. They demanded her resignation. They asked the police and government employees not to obey illegal and immoral orders, threatened to bring government activities to a standstill. The political mood of the country turned very anti-Congress. So this all happened on 25th June 1975 when Jayaprakash Narayan's massive demonstration in Delhi's Ram Leela grounds. So all this was taking place, and all this was the mood of the country was not very good. It was turning very violent and very disturbing. And so Indira Gandhi thought of a way out of it, and she declared emergency. The 1975 was a black spot on democracy. It was the third emergency that was declared in India. The other two times were in 1968, which were mostly because of India-China war and India-Pakistan war in 1971. So they were external disturbances. This emergency was because of internal disturbances. For the first time it was happening that there was an emergency being put due to internal disturbances. The duration of the emergency was 21 months. It started on June 25, 1975 to March 21, 1977. Around 10 lakh people were sterilized forcibly, and lots of things happened. We will study about what happened during the emergency in the further slides. So 25th June was declared as emergency. Okay, children, 25th June was declared as 1975 was declared an emergency. How was it declared as emergency? The Prime Minister recommended the imposition of emergency to President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. You can see he is the president, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. In 1975, he was the president when emergency. He was the one who declared emergency. It invoked Article 352, which talks about emergency. Proclamation of national emergency according to Article 352 is that if the president, after receiving a written communication of a cabinet decision, is satisfied that a grave emergency exists, whereby the security of India or any part thereof is threatened by war, external aggression, or armed rebellion, she may issue a proclamation of emergency for the whole of India or part thereof. So that is on the Prime Minister and her council. They give a written document communication to the president asking him to declare emergency. And if he feels that the condition is such that an emergency should be declared, he declares an emergency. So on the midnight of 25th June 1975, Indira Gandhi recommended, without any recommendation from the cabinet, the imposition of emergency to President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, like I just told you. He immediately proclaimed emergency. Freedom of the press was snatched. That was the first thing that happened after midnight. And the electricity of all major newspapers' offices was disconnected. In the early morning, a large number of leaders were, political leaders and workers were arrested, of the opposition especially. Even cabinet was not informed that the emergency is being declared. And it was only informed in a special meeting on 26 June at 6 a.m. in the morning. After all, emergency has been proclaimed in India. After that, people came to know that emergency was proclaimed. Even the cabinet came to know that emergency was proclaimed. At that time, the Congress president was D.K. Barua, who gave his famous slogan, Indira is India, India is Indira, because Indira Gandhi alone decided and told the president, and the president simply declared an emergency. There were a number of consequences of emergency. Opposition leaders were put behind bars. They were in jail. There was severe press censorship. Strikes and parties like Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and Jamaat-e-Islam were banned because people felt that they would be causing some kind of violence. Fundamental rights were suspended. That is what happens during the emergency. All fundamental rights are suspended. Preventive detention was widely used. Anybody felt that somebody would be, causing any kind of harm, then those people were put behind bars. Constitution was amended. 42nd Amendment happened during this part, and that is also known as the mini constitution. Okay. So in this constitution consists of a series of changes in many parts of the constitution. Among the various changes made, by this amendment. One was that the duration of the legislature in the country was extended from 5 to 6 years. During an emergency, elections can be postponed by 1 year. Besides, any amendment in the constitution can never be challenged by a court of law. So these were the amendments that were made in the 42nd amendment. Many people resisted the emergency. Many non-arrested people went underground, okay, and organized protests against the government. Because if they would be in open, then they would be put behind bars under preventive detention law. So they went into hiding. They went underground. Many underground leafletters, newsletters, leaflets, etc. published, because otherwise it was banned. Okay. Padma Bhushan awardees like Fatishwar Nath Renu and Shivram Karanth. Okay, they were poets and writers. Kannada author Shivram Karanth, and he was a Hindi poet, Fatishwar Nath Renu. They returned their awards, their national award that they had given, the Padma Bhushan that they had been awarded, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. They returned it in protest of suspension of democracy. Okay, but they were very rare. Such things were very rare that had happened. But yes, they did happen. The newspapers, they objected, and their ban or the freedom of press was curtailed. So they published blank spaces in newspapers to protest against censorship. So the main page of the newspaper was left blank. So these were the resistance to the emergency. Although resistance was rare, but still people did resist the emergency. So that was all about how the emergency took place, the consequences of emergency, and the resistance to emergency. I hope it is clear to you now, and we will study more about emergency in our next video. See it nicely. Stay safe. Stay home. Thank you. Have a good day.